All right, and welcome back to the weekly report and roundtable, part of the Light and the Arts and Media think tank. My name is Raymond Tyler. I'm here with James Burroughs, who is not running from anybody. He manufactures vaccines. And I'm also here with Nathan Seven Davis, political commentator, who you may have seen on the O'Reilly Factor back when that was a thing. Okay, before we left, we were talking about coronavirus and whether closings were the right thing. For the record, I'm going to say that the gentleman pushed on that one. I don't know. But let me ask you this, and I'll give you an opportunity to if I'm wrong and you guys didn't push on it, you can say so. But let me ask you this. Um, okay, so full disclosure, people know, uh, who know me know I'm not Joe Biden's biggest fan. I voted for him, uh, kicking and screaming. Um, but again, one of the reasons why I invited you guys on is so we can have the discussions that I feel need to be had. Maybe they don't need to be had, but what does it say about Joe Biden as a candidate when it looks like if it wasn't for coronavirus, uh, he wouldn't have a shot? Nathan said that people are saying that the virus will go away on November 3rd. There are people who think it will go away on November 3rd because without it, Biden wouldn't even be a legitimate candidate right now.
Um, I I don't even know how to respond to that really. I don't. I've heard people say that too, Nathan. A lot of people, oh, well, the only reason you hear about it is because of the election and it's an election year. But I do also remember where, if you remember back to 2012, when we had the little Ebola scare, and you heard about it all over the news, weeks and weeks before the election. Right after the election, you didn't hear anything else about Ebola. Nothing. Do you guys remember that?
I do remember that.
And I
Actually, I
was
don't.
talking to a friend at work. I remember we were having lunch, and he's conservative, and he's talking about it. I mean, really talking about it. And this is like, I want to say, like right around the time of year we are now, like right around Halloween. Oh, it's going to be horrible because there's a case in Boston, and Boston's a crowded city, and it's just going to run straight through Boston. After the election, never heard about it again. Never heard about it again. He never even mentioned it again. I was like, it's amazing how that cleared up, isn't it?
Well, I mean, as Phil Donahue used to say, I don't write the news, I just report it.
You, oh no, and I do understand that too. I don't think that is going to be the case. Not even close to being the case with COVID-19. I mean, it's just out there. I mean, they might try and twist it like they try and do and say, oh, this guy died of the flu or this guy died. No, it's not going to be like that.
Well, okay, so this is what I said as soon as COVID-19 came out and they started talking about it. I said, and it's just like people try and tell me, like people try and tell you you don't know about vaccines. People try and tell me I don't know about the media. I said they're gonna need COVID-19 to be a big deal for these news reporters because they didn't get a chance to do their snow weather shots last year because the weather was so nice. No, Jay, you're laughing, but
No, no,
Nathan,
no. I'm
hear
not.
me up.
I'm not laughing at you, but I was.
News reporters love to take pictures in front of snow blizzards and you had a lot of them who loved to see New York with the tumbleweeds rolling down and I was here.
Yeah.
you know um so I and I'm not saying that coronavirus is nothing, uh but as somebody who's a member of the media, they've been predicting the end of the world every Thursday because of coronavirus since March.
Hmm. Oh yeah, yeah, and actually, before coronavirus was the harbinger of the end of the world, it was something else.
Right, right,
And
right,
after coronavirus, on that Thursday, it'll be something else.
But
right.
it's a business. When we talk about
Yeah.
the end of the world, I don't care if you're dealing with religion. I don't
Hmm.
care which angle it comes from. You sell guns, you sell supplies. People run to the market. They throw money in the plate. It's the end of the world on a regular basis. And I've jokingly said that to people. It's always been the end of the world since someone decided one day that it could be the end of the world. So if you're 100 years into the future, the end of the world is eventually going to come up that it's the end of the world. It's just what we do. It's that doom and gloom.
Okay. So then we agree that even if all three of us catch corona, the world will not end because we contracted the disease. And I'm not trying to be cavalier about it, but you know what? I'm not even going to go on to that because I hope no one here gets corona. I hope we continue to do what we need to do to be safe.
You're not the only
But
one.
I
Yeah.
want to ask you, Nathan, the same question I asked James. What does it say about Biden? Well, let me ask you this. Let me rephrase it. If it wasn't for coronavirus and the economy was still moving along the way it was prior to March 15th, would Joe Biden be in this race?
See, it depends. Now, if you ask me from a black male perspective, as a black man, that there was no choice. I can't support a person who I say is promoting white supremacy and hatred. So I don't care if my 401k was booming, you know, and I had more money in my pocket. I still couldn't vote for the man because you might put money in my pocket, but you still want me to get hit in the head with a billy club or whatever else you want to call it. So no, I I
Hmm.
wouldn't support Trump. There's nothing Trump could do to win my vote at all.
Wasn't quite the question, but I okay.
You
And
know
I,
what?
I agree with everything you just said. You, we can differ on opinions about a lot of things, but when you're differ, where our differences are based on my existence, my family's existence, my son and my
Yeah.
daughter going on to do things and not being harassed, that's a tough difference or a, a tough contradiction to get over. I can't sit here and say, yeah, well, we can go out for a drink of coffee, a cup of coffee or something, when I know that, you supported this guy that's, basically wants people to knock me upside the head.
And Raymond, to add to that, I have children. Now, maybe if I was a single man, if it was just me and my wife, and I said because of my age and the amount of money I make or position, that I can avoid certain situations because realistically I can move into a certain neighborhood and maybe be protected. However, I know I have to eventually leave my neighborhood. And the fact that I know my children who are under 18 eventually will hit that age, I couldn't vote for someone and put them in a position where I know they could adversely affect me, my family, my children, and people look like me. I could not do it.
Okay, all right. Again, wasn't quite the question, but
I'm gonna tell you,
if that's your answer, that's your answer.
but I learned from watching the presidential debates. I really don't have to answer the question. I just have to keep talking, and eventually, that becomes the direction we're gonna work with.
It might not get you another appearance on this show, but okay. All right, so we're gonna take one more break, and so I think I know where the next segment is gonna go. Um, we're gonna end up asking you guys about Ice Cube and 50 Cent.
Pity.
So, yeah, keep it locked to where you got it. This is the Weekend Report and Roundtable. We'll be back right after this.